Hello everybody, and welcome to this tutorial about the Arduino Integrated Development Environment and kind of a sketch overview. Okay, so as you learned in the previous tutorial, IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. And I know it does sound very fancy, and you should feel smart every time you open it and use it. Now the IDE is a text editor-like program that allows you to write computer code that will get uploaded to your Arduino board. So when you open up the Arduino program, you are opening up the IDE. And it's intentionally streamlined to keep things as simple and straightforward as possible. And when you save a file on Arduino, the file is called a sketch. And a sketch is where you save all the computer code that you've written. Now the file extension for a sketch is .ino. So like a Word document would be .doc. Well, an Arduino sketch is .ino. Now it used to be .pde and it's changed over since, so if you ever see a .pde, that's why. That's the old version. The new version saves it as .ino, and the current IDE will make that transition seamlessly for you. Now, the coding language that Arduino uses is very much like C++, which is a common language in the world of computing. So the code you learn to write for your Arduino will be very similar to code you write in any other computer language. And all the basic concepts remain the same. And it's really just a matter of learning a new dialect should you pursue other ventures in programming. Now the code that we will be writing is called human readable. And that means that it's going to make sense to you, or it should sometimes, and it will be organized for a human to follow. So part of the job of the IDE is to take the human readable code that we write and then translate that into machine readable code that can be executed by the Arduino. And that process is called compiling. Now, I'm not trying to get too technical, and I won't get too technical, but the process of compiling is completely seamless to the user, to us. I mean, all we have to do is press a button. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Arduino Integrated Development Environment and get comfortable with what some of the buttons and stuff are. So the first thing I want you to look at is this verbiage right here. It says sketch_August14B. So that is the default sketch name. You'll notice it's also up here, the sketch name next to Arduino, and then the version number of the program that you have for the IDE. So if we want to change the name of the sketch, we go to Save, or you can hit Control S. Something like We Rock. Okay, notice the underscore there. You can't have any spaces in the name of an Arduino program. And sorry, I read a lot of We Rock programs. So okay, so here we are, We Rock. You notice that the name changed here, and the name change is also up there. So it's important to save it early. And then I'm just going to type something right here. Okay, now I want you to notice that little symbol that popped up right next to the name. That every time you make a change to your program, you're going to see that little symbol. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit Control S and see. Notice how it went away. And then now as soon as I hit an Enter, it came back again. So I'm going to go to File, Save, and it went away. So I save like crazy, and I really think you should too. I say every line of code that I type, I save. So just a quick note there. Okay, so now as we look at the top, there are several buttons that go across, and we're going to talk about these buttons. The first one, it's a little check mark. It is the Verify button, and the shortcut key for that is just Control R. So when you press this button, the compiler checks the sketch for any issues that you might have, and then it would show an error message at the bottom of the screen if there was an issue. The next button is the Upload button. The shortcut key for that is Control U. And what this button does is it uploads the code to the Arduino board. And when you press this button and you've got your Arduino hooked up to your computer with your USB cable, you'll see that two LEDs are going to blink really fast. And it's the TX and the RX LEDs that stand for transmit and receive. And so what that means is information is passing from your Arduino from your computer to your Arduino. And those will actually flash when you're sending information back and forth, which you'll see. Alright, so the next thing that I'm going to skip these buttons and I'm going to jump over to this right here. This is the serial monitor window. So if you wanted to see that, you would press Shift Control M. And what this does is it opens up the serial monitor window, and then it allows you to see the communication between your computer and your Arduino. So again, right now I'm just pointing this out. You're not going to have to worry about it for a couple lessons, so this might seem obscure, but again, I just kind of want to show you some stuff. So the next thing is the drop-down menu. This allows you to make new tabs across here. You can rename your tab, you can delete a tab, and then you can kind of navigate through the tabs. Down at the bottom, this is your board and port information. So the type of Arduino board that you've selected, and then the COM port that you're connected to on your computer. Might be a little obscure, but you'll find it pretty handy. Down in this black area right here, and you can make this black area bigger by pulling that up. Down in here is where we would get some information. So I'm just going to go ahead and compile that. We should get an error message. So see how we got an error message down here? This is where you're going to get your error messages, and it's going to try to tell you, hey, something's wrong. And what it will do when you get an error message is it will highlight the line of code where it says it found its first error. Also down in this area at the very bottom is a number, and that number tells you where your cursor is up here. So if I cursor down, now I'm at 2, 3, 4. You can see that number relates to where my cursor is. Okay, now there's also a message bar, and this is the message bar right here. It's in orange because we have this error. It's going to basically display pertinent information. In this case, it gives some information about the error that we got. Okay, and then this whole white area right here, this big area, this is where we write all the code for our sketch. So this is primarily in this space is where we are going to be working and typing our code. So the only other thing I want to show you with the Arduino IDE right now is under File and go to Examples, and you will see there are all these examples listed in here. There's basics, there's digital, analog, communication, control. We're going to be working through all types of these examples. Okay, and these examples were put here by the creators of the Arduino because they were really useful and they're used a lot, and so that's why I think they're awesome. You'll find as you program more and more that using other people's code as a starter can just absolutely be a huge time saver and boost your knowledge and skills. You know, you're basically standing on the shoulder of giants. So that's pretty much the Arduino development environment in a nutshell. That's about all I wanted to talk about right now. In the next tutorial, we're going to start getting our hands dirty writing some syntax for our Arduino program. So I look forward to talking to you then. Have a great day.